All right, so first off, what's good? We're back in this thing. Today we're gonna be taking all the plugins I use in After Effects and Premiere, and I'm gonna be ranking them from S to F tier, and basically seeing if the plugin's worth it or not, and if you should cop it. All right, so I had to stay loyal to Adobe here and use Photoshop to make the tier list. I couldn't use one of those pre-built tier list websites. You can see that I have all the plugins here that I use. Basically, it's a lot of Sapphire and Universe, and I just took the effects from those. I didn't just rank Sapphire versus Universe, because I think it'd be more interesting this way. And then there's a few other plugins that I use on a daily basis. Definitely let me know if I missed any or any ones that you want to see, but these are just the ones that I went through After Effects and kind of just saw that I used the most. All right, so starting off here, we got Twitch. It's a video co-pilot plugin. Honestly, I don't really use it that often, and it's pretty good. It's like, I think it's like 45 bucks or something. It just like basically is like Sapphire Shake kind of, but just with some glitches, RGB splits and stuff. It's pretty useful, and it's been around for a long time. So I think I'm gonna put it in C. It's just pretty decent. All right, so second, we got Universe Ecto here, and if you're a longtime follower of the channel, you definitely know where this is already going. If you're not familiar with the effect, it's basically this fire effect. You've seen it everywhere. I'm pretty sure it's almost in every single Louis No music video. So I'm gonna go on his YouTube channel, and we're just gonna click a random video, and we're gonna see how fast it shows up in the music video. All right, so I just started the video, and we're 1 second in, and he used it on the text. And then here it is again, 13 seconds in. It's like a transition. You've definitely seen this before, and honestly, I don't think the effect's too bad. It's just so overused. So for that case, we're gonna put it in F tier. There was definitely a point where it was cool, but now it's like 2021. There's so many better effects you can be using. And if you use Ecto or Saber, just use it in a different way. Then we got Deep Glow here. Honestly, Deep Glow is my go-to glow. It's just a really good plugin. I think it's like 50 bucks maybe or something like that. And by far, in my opinion, the best glow that you can use. So for that case, I'm gonna put it in S tier. I use glows a lot. I think it really helps sell effects and kind of just merge some environments together when you're doing some VFX. So for that reason, I'm putting Deep Glow in S tier. Now we got Universe Heat Wave, and honestly, this is a slept on effect. It's basically, you know, when you're in the summer in the middle of a road or something, or like on pavement, and you see like those heat waves going up, that's what this effect is right here. You can just apply it to your video footage, and I think it looks really cool. There's so many different uses for it, and it's honestly slept on. I gotta explore more about how you can actually use this, because you can really sell some effects with this. So I think B is pretty good for it, because it's not gonna be used all the time, but when it is used, I think it looks really good. And then I just had an idea of why I should just go into After Effects and show you guys kind of what the effects do. I'm not gonna like do much with them, but this is what Heat Wave does. You can see it kind of has that blur, and you can change the intensity. If we like crank up the intensity of it a lot, you can see it has this heat wave effect. Obviously that's a lot, but yeah, just wanted to show you. All right, so next up we got Sapphire TV Damage, and honestly, I think a lot of people do this effect dirty. They're just not using it properly. If you just tweak some of the settings and stuff, you can get some really cool like CRT kind of looks. If you pair it with my pack, it actually looks really cool. I've used it before, and honestly, you couldn't really tell that it was digital. So for that case, I'm gonna put it in C, honestly, because a lot of people don't use it right, and you wouldn't use it all the time. I'll go ahead and show you what that is. Here we can drag on Sapphire TV Damage. Obviously, right away, it has a lot of shit already on it. So I just, you know, kind of crank down all of this stuff and just play with all the settings. You'll learn the best if you kind of just understand what everything's doing. I like the fast forward details the most, honestly. If you see here, we have like these lines, and it just looks like it's fast forward. And that looks pretty cool by itself, but it obviously looks really digital. So if you go ahead and drag on one of my CRT presets, that's how I use it. I'm gonna go ahead and drag on CRT Pixelated. Just make sure you drag it above. And once you do something like that, you have a cool look. I'm already doing tutorials in the tier list. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and skip it. I just wanted to show that people were doing that effect dirty, and there's cool ways you can use it. All right, so next up, Sapphire Shake. It's a pretty good plugin, and I should just probably make presets for this plugin, because every time I use it, I feel like I spend way too much time actually trying to make the effect look good. But you definitely can do it with it. But most of the time, by the time I spend all the time making the shake look good, I could have just keyframed it myself or done something manually. It's pretty useful. I'll put it C. Then next up here, we have Mocha. It's a plugin to help you do 3D tracking and rotoscoping. I don't really use it too much, but I know a lot of people swear by it and say it's the shit. I definitely need to tap into this and use this more often. I'm gonna put it in A just because I haven't used it too much, but I think it probably is borderline S tier of a plugin. I watched like a few videos on it, and it really helps do like those hard rotoscopes and like tracks that, you know, After Effects just can't do itself. Then for here, I just grouped Sapphire Distort, Distort Blur, Distort Chroma, and Distort RGB because they're pretty much all the same thing. But these are like my go-to distort effects in Sapphire. I think they're better than the Universe distorts, so I'm gonna put it in B, honestly, all those distort effects really fell off unless you're trying to do like a really trippy edit. It's pretty useful, but yeah, that's where I'm gonna put it. And then here's the Sapphire Distorts, just default. You can add it to rotoscopes and all that stuff. Obviously, I'm just gonna go ahead and drag them all on. You can see that they're pretty much all the same stuff here. So that's why I grouped them all together, but they're also really useful. So be sure to check those out. Next up is Element 3D. If you want to do anything in 3D in After Effects, you pretty much need Element. It's cool. I've only used it a few times as well. This is actually one of the ones that I don't use too often. I definitely need to learn more about it, and there's so much you can do with it, but it also could be better for sure. Next up, we got Universe Prism Displace. It's pretty much the same thing as the Sapphire Distorts. It's a little bit different, but it's cool. I don't use it as much, but you can get a pretty cool look. I think C tier is pretty good for it. Then next up, we got Universe Chromatic Aberration. I find myself using this to kind of just hide like imperfections in my edit, kind of when I like mess up or something. So it's not really that useful, but it's cool. I think D tier is a pretty good spot for it. It's just like one of those ones that if you can't really find anything else to put on a clip, go ahead and slap that on there and it might fix it. After that, we got Sapphire Glow, and like I was saying earlier, I use Deep Glow for almost all my glows. Sapphire Glow is pretty cool if you have Sapphire and you don't feel like spending extra money and getting Deep Glow because it's just one effect for 50 bucks. Then you can definitely kick it with Sapphire Glow and be fine. I just don't really find myself using it too much because I have Deep Glow. So I'm gonna put it in B. It's a good effect for sure. Next up, we got Universe VHS, and this is one of the ones kind of like Ecto that's overused a bunch, but people also do it dirty, kind of how the TV Damage was. You can get some really cool looks with Universe VHS and actually make it look cool, but most of the time, as soon as I drag it on, you'll see what I'm talking about. Most of the time when people use it, it looks exactly like this. They just drag it on and don't change anything at all. You've definitely seen this exact look before, but if you go ahead, play around with the settings and stuff, you can actually get some pretty unique looks. But just for the fact that it's so overused, and every single time it's overused, it's kind of I'm gonna put it in D. Next, we got Universe AV Club, and this one's also another one that's like not really talked about much, but it was used on text a while ago. I still find myself using it every once in a while, but it's kind of like a little bit overplayed, I feel like. But if you don't have anything to do to text and it's not 3D text and it's just 2D text, you want something simple that's gonna make it look a lot better really quickly, then I think AV Club is a pretty good go-to. And you can see what I'm talking about here. As soon as I drag it on, it has a little bit of like that distort. And obviously you're gonna wanna play around with the settings. It's very much so similar to the VHS and TV Damage. If you don't change it, it's gonna stand out and it's gonna be really noticeable. But you can get some cool looks with it, and it adds a little bit of motion to your text, and I think it looks pretty good. And next up, we got Amino Diffusion, and this one's a big plus because it's free. I think Amino has like 6 or 7 different free effects. I haven't really played around with any ones besides Diffusion, so that's the one I'm going to be talking about. It's really good if you want that CRT synth look, but if you don't really want that, then it's not that useful. But since it's free, I'm going to go ahead and slap it up in B. If you're looking for a replacement for Signal, which is like another synth effect, I would recommend this one because it's free, and I think it's pretty much the same. I think Signal has a little bit more options for like noise and all that, but if you just are looking for that synth look, I think Diffusion is your go-to. So Sapphire Rays is a pretty cool effect. It basically just replicates sun rays coming down from like the highlights. So if you're in a room where it makes sense, I actually did a music video in like 2018, 2019, and we used Sapphire Rays because we were in like one of those places where they grow all the plants and like preserve that stuff. I don't know exactly what it's called, but the whole premise of the music video was like the Sapphire Rays was coming down. Here, I'll play it real quick. And I just had it like color change. I thought it looked really cool. And it's pretty simple to do. Like honestly, that scene looked a lot more interesting that way. And I do it throughout the music video, and you can see I use it different ways. I haven't really found like a consistent way to use it as far as like incorporating in a lot of music videos, but I think it's a really good effect. I'm gonna put it in A. No, I can't put it in A. I don't use it that often. B. I'm gonna put it in B. It's a really good effect, but it's just like, when do I use it that much? And next up, we got Universe Hollow Matrix, and honestly, this is another one that could be cool, but I think a lot of people just slap it on into rotoscopes and into backgrounds and just use it that way. And that's why I think plugins sometimes hurt people editing ability, because they think they have the plugin so they can just drag it on, get a cool look without actually doing anything. And that couldn't be like further from like what you're actually supposed to do with plugins. Plugins are basically like supposed to help you and not just be like drag and drop presets. So I think this one goes to D as well. It's really cool if you're looking for like a glitchy look. Here, I'll show you. You guys have definitely seen it before. Hollow. This is what we're talking about. It's cool or whatever. Next up, we got Sapphire Grain. And the only reason I included this is because if you're in Premiere and you want good grain and you don't have an overlay, I think this is a really good go-to. But if you're in After Effects, they actually have add grain effect, and that's built in. And I think that's better than Sapphire Grain. But if you don't feel like transferring your footage over to After Effects just to get some grain, then I think this is really good for Premiere. And for that, I'm gonna put it in A actually. It's kind of like a really good time saver if you want grain, and yeah, I think it looks good. After that, we got RSMB, and honestly, this goes straight to S tier. I'm gonna put it even above Deep Glow. Not even that these are in order or anything, but RSMB is the absolute GOAT when it comes to just making your footage smoother. Some people just slap it over their whole project. You can add it on anything that has motion. It's so useful for 3D to kind of make the 3D actually look like it's there, because when you render out 3D stuff, if you don't have that motion blur, it just does not look real. And for that reason, we're gonna make it S+ tier. We're gonna make our own whole new rank just for RSMB, S+. There we are. It gets the S+ award. And lastly, we got Displacer Pro, another free plugin actually. It's already up there. It's basically a replacement for displacement map in After Effects and Premiere, and I think it's a lot better. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and leave the last spot in A. It's really good if you want that flowy water motion look. I have tutorials on almost all of these effects. If you're interested, probably just go ahead and search throughout the channel and find some stuff. Oh wait, we got one last one actually. It just snuck in. Oh, BrianDelmata.com. Whoa. All right, guys. So these aren't plugins or anything. I don't have any plugins, but I have presets and packs on my website. Unbiased opinion. It's going to S++ tier. We're gonna go ahead and make it even bigger of a tier here, and then we're going up here and we're going S++ tier. But yeah, guys, if you guys are actually interested in any of my packs and presets, I'll have the link down below. It's a good way to support the channel if you enjoyed any of the content and you want to support me as a creator, as well as get some really cool looks. I really do appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know. This is definitely a different style video. I've never done anything like this before. I think it's kind of like a fun, different thing that we can do on the channel that also kind of gives you guys a little bit of knowledge of stuff that I know. And I kind of want to start doing more videos like this where it's just a little bit more fun and entertaining and less technical in the tutorial realm. So yeah, drop a comment down below if you think I should do some more videos in this style. We're almost to 50,000 subscribers. I upload 3 times a week. Drop a sub, it's free. Like, comment, all the YouTube stuff, BrianDelmata.com to support the channel. We're out of here. Peace.